And for the research, how we will select our title, we don't know. We go here and there, our senior brother, teacher. What happened to me when I have decided that I am going to start my PhD, I have to write a research proposal. So I went to my professor. Then when I said, Professor, I want to start my PhD. Please give me a topic, what I will do, etc., etc. The professor said, okay, see, you will do your PhD. So you have to select your research topic. Okay, you attend my class. Okay, then he was expert on environmental law. He said that, okay, you attend my class, environmental law is very wide area, so choose what you want to do, then you decide. Then I attend his class, and finally I found that, okay, I was confused what I will do. Then I went to another teacher. Then I asked him, he was expert of international law. I decided that, okay, I will do my research on law of the sea. I am from law background. So he also said the same thing. Okay, I said I went to his class and I took his subject. Okay, then after the semester, I also decided that, okay, I'm still confused what I will do. Okay, then I went to one of my brother. He came from, I think, the Middle East one country. I think he's from Saudi Arabia. He was staying next to my room in Mahalla Salahuddin. He was a student of ICOL. That time he was doing his PhD at ICOL. So I went to him. He said, okay, brother, you take human rights. Nowadays human rights is very hot issue. You have to, if you do your research on this area, you will get lot of job, lot of opportunity, etc., etc. So actually I took around 6 months to decide which area I will choose. Many students, they do like that. Okay, then finally, alhamdulillah, I choose my topic and I start my PhD. What I want to say here, the important thing is, when we will select our topic, few issues we have to remember and few issues we have to follow. For example, when we will select our topic, we have to identify or determine first which area we are more comfortable with. If we take advice from here and there, and if I follow their advice, and if I am not familiar with that topic, then it will not easier for me. We have to remember that when we will start our PhD, we have to spend 3 to 6 years. It's not a 1 month, 1 week, 2 months, not like that. It's long time. When we will do our PhD, we have to read and read. Okay, if we don't have any interest on that topic, if we read 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, then after we will feel boring. Then that research is very difficult for us. Brother Ziad, are you hearing me?
Yes, brother. Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, are you married?
Married, but still available.
I am also married. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
The thing is, when we decide that we will marry someone, okay, or then we marry someone, and if our partner is suitable with us, comfortable with us, I mean 100% matching with us. For example, I like to eat beef, she like to eat beef. I like to travel, she like to travel. I like to visit overseas, she like to visit overseas. If 100% match, then the life will be very easier, very happy life, right? If my wife, when I choose my wife and after married, if I find that she is not 100% match with me, for example, she like fish, I don't like fish. She like to talk, I don't like to talk. She like to travel, I don't like to travel. So in this case, I have to adjust. To do this adjustment, I have to spend lot of time, lot of money, lot of things. I have to sacrifice lot of things. So it's like a research proposal. When you will decide that you will write your research proposal, you have to choose the appropriate, suitable research title for you. Otherwise, you have to suffer like that. that your wife, she is not 100% messing with you, then you have to suffering, you are giving time, you are spending money, but you are struggling. So it is like that same. If you choose suitable, appropriate topic, your PhD journey will very smooth. Happily, you will spend your time and you will enjoy your PhD
Yes.
thesis.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now, how you will select the suitable, appropriate title? We'll talk about that. When we will decide, we will do our PhD, we will start our research proposal. We have to find our interest. Where is our interest? Maybe my interest is criminal law. Maybe your interest is environmental law. Maybe his interest in Islamic banking. Maybe his interest in internet governance. Okay. If you have maybe my interest in Islam, maybe my interest is refugees, Rohingya refugees. When Rohingya refugees hurted in their country, killing in their country, I feel sad. I read that type of news very much. If I see, I can't ignore. I have to find which area I have interest. Like if I can find successfully, and if I can identify my interest, and accordingly if I select my topic, the journey will very smooth, and research, you will enjoy your research. To identify your interest, you have to read maybe books, articles, okay, or you have to attend conference. Maybe you attend a conference and in IIUM, then you found that someone present a paper that is very interesting, that you are thinking in your mind. They are discussing or presenting about the new problem of Palestine, okay, that you never know. You know the Palestine crisis, but lot of things we don't know. So if you maybe you will find there. So you have to, as a researcher, you have to find your interest. Next slide. How about next slide? Okay. Maybe you can see ongoing research. Maybe if you can see IIM library, many people did research on this area. Okay, on this area, and if you read their title, maybe you will get some idea. Okay.
Doctor, sorry to interrupt actually. If you can go presenter view, like slideshow, then the page will be larger.
Yeah. Okay, I talk fast. Maybe if you have some question, anything else you can ask. Okay. Normally, it's depend on sometimes personal values. You know, some individual have a strong belief on religion, political, moral, and social values. For example, some people may have a strong belief in equality among the various religion. Radical group feel bad when they heard that the discrimination between women, children. Okay, so you have to find your interest. When you will find your interest, that times you have to basic consideration of the selecting topic. When you will select your topic, at first you have to consider the interest is genuine. That means you have to feel that it is your interest. Someone didn't create interest on you. Someone told you, okay, brother, now Islamic banking is very hot cake, you know, hot topic. If you do PhD or masters from IIM, you will get many jobs in Middle East. If you can go Dubai, you can go Qatar, you know. So you have to find your genuine interest. Then when you will find your interest, you have to find that, okay, is there any problem? If there is any problem, then you can choose this topic. If there is no problem, what you will do? Okay, then you have to find that the topic should be possible to study. Okay, you choose something, but it is not accessible. For example, I have an example. When I When I went to Islamic University Maldives, on brother he started to do PhD on Islamic banking of Maldives. He wrote a proposal, defense proposal. When he started his PhD, he went to bank. They refused to give the data. They refused to give interview. Okay. Then he found that it is not possible to continue his PhD because he is not getting anything. So before you start your uh, proposal writing, you have to consider that, okay, I am selecting this topic. Okay, in this topic, okay, I have interest. Then you have to find the problem. If there is problem, then you have to find, okay, to solve this problem, to analyze this problem, I need data. I need data. I need so how I will get the data? Who is methodology I will use? Is qualitative methodology or quantitative methodology? If quantitative or qualitative, how you will collect the data? If you want to take interview, okay, you have to list down, okay, who's you want to take interview, and are they available? Can you get their appointment? If you think that, okay, I will do PhD on Islamic banking, I will, in your methodology you mention, I will take interview the president of Islamic Bank of Malaysia, president of Islamic Bank of Bangladesh, but when you want to take for, when you will go to take his interview, he's very busy, he will not give you appointment. So before you start your this research, that means when you are writing your proposal, that time you have to think about your data.
Okay, noted, noted. You want me to help you with the slides? I'm requesting actually to help you with the slides. You can just agree.
I think
Just,
okay. I think now
just,
okay.
just agree. I will help you. Don't worry. I will open the slides.
Okay, okay. Okay, if you can control, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just tell me if next slide or something. I'm just trying to do the presentation as a slides. Okay. So we try now.
Yeah, can I?
Let me try. Okay, go further more first.
Yes, just I talk the problem. If you, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, just I talk about the problem. Okay, so when you will find, you will identify research title, then you have to find that, you have to identify, is there any problem or not? If there is any problem, then you can carry on with that. Next, then the topic should be possible to study. That means that I just mentioned that when you will choose some topic, then you have to think that the topic, you can access the data, you can visit the person whom you want to take the interview. For example, research study involve time. So you have planned when you are writing your proposal that you will finish your PhD within 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. So when you will find the problem, you have to think, am I able to finish this problem or solve this problem or analyze this problem within 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? So if you think that, okay, you are able to do that, okay, you can carry on. Then if you think that, okay, you have to take interview and you have to collect data here and there, you have to expend money. So you have to think, okay, how you will manage this money? Do you have enough money? If you have enough money, okay, good. Or if you don't have enough money, you can talk to some professor. If they suggest you, or if they have fund, if they give you money, you have to effort to collect the data. So do you have the enough ability to do that? Then if you want to do quantitative research or experimental research as an engineer student, you have to do some experiment. So do you have the enough skill to do that experiment? Or when you are doing any experiment, you need some machine or you need some materials, equipment. Is that available? If not available, how much is it? If it is too expensive, 20,000 Malaysian ringgit, 50,000 Malaysian ringgit, how you will continue, how you will manage? So you have to think all the thing, or you have to think all these materials, all these element, all these things when you will start writing your proposal. Then research should have academic or social value. When you will do your research, when you will start your research proposal, or you will select your title, then you have to think, is the research should have academic or social value. Is there any social value for this research? Is anybody will benefit for this? Any group of the society or community, or any group of people will be benefited or not? If it has social value, anybody or any group of society, if you think that any group of society will benefit for that, then you can carry on with your research title. If there is no value, nobody will be benefited for this. Okay, so there is no value, so why you will do that? Here here there is some examples of topic, many topic here. Okay, all the topic from IIM library. Okay, if when you select that, you will select a research topic in this area, you can see that area, you can go the library, you can see the title related research on this area, then you will get some title, you will get some idea to write your title. Okay, here examples of a topic, a comparative analysis of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh. I am from law background, I am from social science, so I will use this title as an example for this research. Okay, you can write down this title because we will use it time to time. Okay, a comparative analysis of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh. Okay, we will use the research objective, research question, research problem according to this title. Okay, normally when we will select our title, then we will decide to write our proposal. When we will start to write our proposal, the first thing is research background. Okay, introduction or research background of the research. You have to write a research background. There is no specific method of writing and research background. There is no method. In the research background, normally the normally what we do, normally we explain the title to the reader to make it interested to the reader. Okay, when they will read the research background, they will get some interest to read your whole thesis. Okay, if your thesis, for example, we are using here a comparative analysis of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh. So in the background, I will discuss what is film censorship. Maybe someone reading this research, he doesn't know about the film censorship. We know film. We are watching everyday film. What is the exact meaning of film? We don't know. If I ask somebody, okay, what is film? There is any definition? Of course, there is definition, but we don't know. Okay, so you have to explain, okay, this is the title of my research. Okay, this is film means this, film censorship means this. Okay, then this is some problem. Okay, you have to make your research background interesting. Normally people ask, okay, research background, how many pages I will write? Make it short as possible, maybe 1 page, maximum 2 pages, but you have to make it useful. I just mentioned that you have to make it interesting. You will not allow to write anything boring, okay, unnecessary. No need to just extend your page. Okay, when you will write, you have to remember that when the reader will read, they will enjoy, and when they will read the background of the research, he will get interest to read my whole thesis, because my thesis 300 pages, 400 pages. Okay, you have to make this type of interest. Okay, then specify the basic problem or issue which is the researcher intend to study. Show in a general way how the proposed study is different from the other research. Other people know, many people did research earlier regarding in this area, so you have to show slightly how your research is special and different from them. Then people will get interest to read your thesis. Then problem statement. I mentioned earlier that when you will select your topic, when you will select your title, you have to find that is there any problem? If there is no problem, why you are doing this research? Okay, so we have to find a specific problem. So you have to find what is problem. If there is no problem at all, there is no point to do that research. The problem statement introduce the key problem, that is address the research project. Okay, problem statement must be clear. Okay, it must be clear and specific. If your problem statement is not clear, if people read your problem statement, they don't understand, then that means your problem statement is not clear. Okay, you have to make your problem statement relevant, possible, and interesting. When people will read your problem statement, they will get more interest to read your thesis. So a good problem statement must be relevant. It must be relevant with your title, with your research objective, research question. There is a chain. Okay, this must be relevant. Okay, here there is some problem example of problem statement. You know, I mentioned the title of this example, a comparative analysis of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh. Here there is some problem I want to mention. Okay, the film censorship law limits the freedom of speech and expression. You know, everybody will have freedom of speech and expression. We can talk, we can move, freedom of movement, freedom of speech. Okay, but film censorship law limit the freedom of speech and expression. This is a problem. When people will read your problem, okay, freedom of speech, film censorship law limits the freedom of speech and expression. How? I want to know. Okay, then they will go to your thesis and they will read it. Okay, for example, another problem is section 26 of the Film Censorship Act 2002 of Malaysia provide absolute discretionary power to the minister. That means minister can do anything whatever he wants. Okay, so it is a weakness, it is a problem of this act. So when people will read that, then people will think, okay, what type of discretionary power, absolute power provided to the minister, I want to know. Then it will create the desire of the reader. Then they will read your thesis. Okay, it's very big, you can read it. You don't have enough time. Okay, select the problem. Don't select subject which is overdone. Okay, when you will select a topic, you have to think, you will choose a topic which is not overdone. Okay, many people did this as the same thing, okay, same things but different objective. They did lot of research. So if possible, just avoid that type of title. Controversial subject, if possible, don't take any controversial subject as your research topic. Okay, too narrow or too unclear problem. Okay, you have to, when you will select a problem, when you will select problem for your thesis, you have to make it perfect, not very narrow, not very unclear, because you have to think that, okay, to solve this problem or to analyze this problem, you have to spend 3 years. So your problem should have suitable for 3 years. If you make it very small, okay, how you will spend 3 years, how you will doing PhD? Maybe you can do a small research paper, 10 page, 20 page, 15 page, you can solve this problem. Why you will do PhD for this small problem? Or your problem statement is not clear, so you will not able to successfully complete your thesis if it is not clear. When reader will read, they will not understand. When your thesis will go to the examiner will think, okay, I am not clear about that problem. What is he talking about? What did he do? Or I'm not clear about his result findings. Okay, then you will get major correction. Okay, so you have to specify your problem and you have to make it suitable for your PhD. Okay, finding a research problem. Okay, finding a research problem. When you will select any title, research title, then you have to, how you will find research problem. Sometimes, okay, we select our title, we have written our introduction or research background. Now we are very worried how we will find research problem. To find research problem, when you will select a topic, regarding that topic, you can read some article, or you can see the current event, current issue related to your topic. Okay, you can see some dissertation who or thesis who did the research on related issues. Maybe they can leave some further research in their research, in their thesis. Then you can read, you can find. Okay, then you can talk to the expert who is expert in this area. You can go and talk to them. Okay, sir. Okay, prof, I want to do my research on this area. Okay, this is my title, this is my research background, but I failed to identify the problem. Maybe they are expert, they knows about this area, so maybe they can suggest you. Okay, a smart research problem. The problem must be specific, manageable, achievable, realistic, time bound. Okay, just I mentioned that time bound means your problem, you have to do your PhD. Maybe you will spend 3 years, so your problem must be equivalent to 3 years. Okay, if very simple problem, when you will go to the professor will say that okay, it's very simple problem, you have to extend or you have to add more problem for 3 years. Okay, then research problem must excite you. When you will find a research problem, of course it must excite you. If you excite, if you feel excitement, then it will create interest to do your research. Otherwise you feel boring. You will, after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, you feel okay, it is very impossible for me to do this research. I will not able to finish my PhD. Okay, when you will find your research problem, you have to find that this research problem create passion to you. Okay, it will create a passion that okay, I have to find, I have to analyze this, and I have to try to solve this problem, and I have to find how we can solve this problem. When it will create passion to you, your research will be very easy, inshallah. Then objective of the research. When we start writing our proposal, when we heard about objective, we think, oh my god, objective, very difficult thing, how I will write objective. We are going here and there, brother, how I will write my research problem objective. Okay, don't take it very seriously, it's very easy. It's purpose. Many people here today, more than 50 people attending this workshop, they have some purpose, right? Some people, their purpose, okay, they already written their proposal. Today they attend, okay, to know only the research methodology. I attend this workshop because I want to know research methodology. Someone attend this workshop, maybe he want to know the how to write research proposal. He doesn't know, this is the first time. Okay, someone attend this workshop, her or his purpose is okay, I am in home, I am very boring, so I am attending the workshop, just enjoy. Okay, so purpose is different. So when you are doing your research, when you select your topic, you have to find yourself what is your purpose, what you want to do. The purpose is objective. Okay, so the objective is a broad statement what the researcher intend to do. Okay, for example, in this research, a comparative analysis of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh is a comparative analysis. The purpose of my thesis that I want to analyze the law of these two countries. I want to see how they are doing, how they are censoring film. My purpose. Okay, maybe one of my purpose is I want to find the weakness of film censorship process. Okay, you have to, very generally, you have to find your purpose first. Then when you will find your purpose, then you have to see how you will write it. Okay, as a leader, as a researcher, or when you will write a proposal, which language you will use. Okay, then you can think about that. Normally the research objective usually start with this type of sentence. When we will research objective, the objective of the study is, then you will write your objective. Objective number 1, to identify this, then to identify this, that, to examine this. Okay, normally we write like this. The objective of this descriptive research is, the study investigate this. In this study, the researcher identifies, the aim of the study is. This type of introductory sentence we use to write our research objective. Yeah, then an example. Okay, according to our title, the research objective of this research are to identify the extent and limitation of the freedom of speech and expression concerning to film censorship, to examine the similarities and dissimilarities of film censorship. Film censorship, I am doing comparison Malaysia and Bangladesh. So what is the similarity? What is the dissimilarity? So it is my object. So I want to identify what is the weakness, what is the strength. Okay, this is your objective. Okay.
Dr. Zahito, can we be a bit faster because we are running off time? So is it okay to finish within 5 minutes if you don't mind?
I will try.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so
research
much.
question. Research question, actually the same thing with research objective. Research objective is a statement, you see, to identify the extent and limitation of freedom of speech and expression. And research question, thus only the interrogative sentence. Okay, what are the extent and limitation? You see, the previous number 2, to examine the similarities and dissimilarities of film censorship in Malaysia and Bangladesh. And number 2 question, what are the similarities and dissimilarities of legal mechanism film censorship available of Bangladesh and Malaysia? The same thing, just you will make it question, so that now you can ask, if research objective and research question same thing, why we are writing research objective and research question? Okay, if you see the structure of few universities, they don't have research question, they only mention research objective, because research question and research objective almost same thing. Okay, when you will do your research, you have to fulfill all of your objective. When people will read your whole thesis, they will find that okay, your all objective fulfilled, your all research question fulfilled. Okay, if someone find that okay, your research question, I didn't get answer for question number 4 in your research, that means your research is incomplete. When someone feels that okay, I think that your objective 4 is not complete in your research, that means your research is not complete. So when you will write your thesis, you have to remember that you have to fulfill all the objectives, all the questions. Then hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis is a statement is assumed to be true for the purpose of testing its validity. It's an assumption. Okay, when you will start writing your research proposal, you did some research, pilot research, that means short research, to select your topic, to select your objective, to select your question. Then by this research, what did you feel? What is your assumption? For example, in this research, I feel Malaysian film censorship process is better than Bangladesh. Is an assumption. Maybe I think okay, Bangladesh film censorship process is better than Malaysia. Maybe I got this assumption, but after the thesis, whole thesis, it's proved that okay, opposite, but no problem. Maybe it proves your statement, also no problem. So it's only an assumption. Okay, but it line with your title, with your research object and research question. Okay, the aim of building a hypothesis, it helps a researcher to state his prediction accurately. It helps researcher to test his prediction. It helps researcher, okay, to know your assumption, your assumption. Then it provides a scientific framework for investigation. Okay, when they will read your hypothesis, okay, they will understand your feelings, they will consider or they will assume your full thesis. Okay, significance of research. It is an important part of your research proposal. Significance of research, I just discussed earlier that when you will select a topic, you have to find that is there any social value for your research? If there is no social value, why you are doing this research? So in this significance of research, you have to mention that in your research, there is some value for the society or for the community, for the group of community. You have to focus the importance of your research. When people will understand, read your significance of research, they will understand, okay, this research will benefited these people will benefit a group of people of the society, or poor people of the society, or education ministry will will get some policy from this research to develop the education system. Okay, so you have to focus the interest. It's the importance of the research, basically significance of research. Here I mentioned there is an example, you can read it. Literature review. Okay, literature review is very important part for your research. For literature review, you have to find related research literature. You are not first person who doing research on this area. Many people did research on this area. Okay, you have to find literature which is directly related with your topic, and you have to mention that you have to find the gap why you are doing the research in same area. They did research, but maybe they didn't do something that you want to do. Okay, it lead to better research by the researcher. It can be helped to identify the relevant of the researcher. Okay, purpose of literature review to show credibility. Okay, to show purpose of your framework. Okay, to identify research problem, to avoid unnecessary. When you will do your literature review, you have to remember that you have to choose that topic, that literature, which is very related to your topic. Unnecessary, which is not relevant to your topic, but you are citing as a, you are reviewing as a literature. Later, when you will send to your supervisor, they will tell you to remove. Okay. How to conduct literature review? Okay. Okay. Source of literature, how you will source, how you will find your literature, related literature. You can find by library, maybe you can find the soft copy, for example Scopus, Web of Science, LexisNexis, Google Scholar. If you find, when you will select your topic, you have to take some keyword, and you know how to identify or how to find the related literature. You have to go to Google Scholar, you have to give the key, then keyword, then you will get related all the article, conference, books. Okay, this here article, conference, book, research report, thesis, dissertation. You can cite all the things. When you will component of literature review, when you will write a literature review, you have to remember that there is three parts: introduction, main body, conclusion. Okay, introduction body. The introduction should identify the researcher reason of reviewing the literature and should explain the type of literature to be reviewed. Okay, just you want to write something introductory, maybe you can write, okay, I'm doing research on this area, and not many academicians did research on this area, so I took my literature from neighbor countries, Singapore, Indonesia, here and there. Okay, the main body, you have to write all your literature and you have to criticize, you have to find the gap. Okay, and conclusion, after the literature review, you have to write something. Okay, that show the importance of your research. Okay, when you will do research, when you will review any literature, you have to make it sequence, you have to make it related with one another. Okay, Dr. Zahid Islam in his paper said this, brother Ziad in his paper said this. There is no gap, there is no sequence. Maybe you can add these two literature with similarly. Okay, likewise, again. Okay, you can write brother Dr. Zahid Islam in his paper said this. Similarly, Dr. Ziad said like this. So you have to make it like a chain. You have to go through one by one, and you have to make a sequence that the reader will enjoy to read your literature. When it is disagreement, Then you have to write however, on the other hand, nevertheless. Okay, you have to use the connecting word. Then, okay, good literature. A good literature review is focused, okay, logical, developed, okay, current. You have to use the current literature. When you are selected a topic, when you will select literature, you have to find the latest literature, if the possible the latest article, latest book, latest conference. Okay, normally when you are writing a proposal, the literature review you are doing with latest literature. When you finish your PhD after 5 years, when you are going to submit your thesis, then you thought that you saw that many people in the meantime wrote many things, many article, many book related to this topic. Before you submit your thesis, related all the topic, all the article, all the literature you have to include. Otherwise, for example, you have submitted your thesis, and this thesis got your examiner, someone from UK, and he found that he wrote a book related this topic. You didn't cite, you didn't review this book. He will mention that in the comment that, okay, his literature is not up to date. Okay, you include all the literature, but you forgot or you miss on literature, and that one written or wrote by your external or internal examiner. In this case, you can get this type of comment. So you have to work again for this. Okay, common error of review literature. Normally what we did rush. We are very hurry, we are busy, we have to finish our PhD, so we do it faster. So when we do it faster, we left many things. Recent, current literature, current article, current book, we forgot to review. So when we will submit our thesis at the time of PhD, when you will get the report from your external or internal, you will get the comment that, okay, your literature review is not up to date. Okay, there is some example for literature review here. You can see. Okay, a scope and limitation. But when you will start your writing your proposal, you have to think about your scope. Okay, when I am explaining that, okay, I will do research on film in Malaysia and Bangladesh, that means it is my scope, Malaysia and Bangladesh. Limitation, okay, I have mentioned, okay, I will do film, but what film? Every film. Maybe limitation I can mention, okay, I will consider all the film except the documentary film or animation film, etc., etc. Or in limitation you can mention, okay, for my research I have to I need lot of money, but I don't have enough money, I am a student. So it's one of the limitation. What type of limitation problem you face, all the thing you should write down in your limitation. Okay. Okay, research methodology we'll talk by brother Dr. Haruna. Okay, the reference. When you will write your literature review, you have to use all the references you use in your proposal. Okay. Okay, thank you. If any question?
Thank you so much, Brother Zahidul. Thank you so much. I guess we're gonna open the questions at the end of the section. It will be much benefit, so people can get all the information first, and then we can open the section to all. So thank you so much for your speech. It's really very beautiful and important presentation for everyone who would love to do a research proposal, and also the thesis. You know, it's also the thesis. The chapter 1 of the thesis should be full of this information for sure. So thank you so much for the nice share and nice speech. And let's move because of the limit of the time. So let's move forward with brother Dr. Harun. So are you with us, Dr. Harun?
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, yeah. The mic with you. You can start. We cannot see you. We see the fan only.
Oh, can you see me now?
Okay, I think you need to adjust the. Yeah, now I can see you. Yes, great.
Okay.
That's good job. Okay, so please, the mic with you. You can start now.
Okay, are you going to share it?
Yeah, let's ask Brother Zahidul to close the slides and try to share his slides with the chat, if you don't mind, Brother Zahidul.
I don't
So
know
you
how I will close this slide.
just close
I
exit. You can just exit up. You can go up and press up that you already stop, or maybe just a screen share down. You can just stop slide share, which is Alt S if you
yeah,
want.
got it.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, brother Dr. Harun, you can open your presentation.
Okay.
So same, you can go down and just put share screen.
of course, there's no
Okay,
problem.
that's working.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, 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 I can see your slides.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, and
You are
I'm
most welcome.
really honored with your invitation. At the same time, I really appreciate the effort of PGSS in particular and CPSS in general.
Thank you so
So,
much.
inshallah, today I will be sharing my experience and particularly how to write a good enough research methodology. Of course, for the data analysis, because I think we don't have so much time to combine both together. But of course, I'll just be speaking a little bit about data analysis, which will be part of research methodology as well. Inshallah, my discussions will cover four main sections: the introduction, how to write research methodology, and at the same time, data analysis procedures, and conclusion. Uh, Before I proceed with my discussion, let me say this, that there is no one way of doing research. There could be so many ways of doing research, but what is important is that your research should be interesting to your supervisor, to your readers, to the examiners, and anyone who will be interested in your research. But of course, what I'm going to discuss today are the choices that you may like to make when you do your research, when you write your research methodology in particular. So, but of course, at the same time, I'm coming from social science disciplines, and you should know that what I'm going to discuss today also will be much relevant to social sciences. But of course, at the same time, whether you are coming from natural science, you are coming from applied science, you are coming from humanities, what we know is that all of us, whether we like it or not, we all review literature in order to find out what is already known to us. We also review literature to find out what we don't know and to create research gap. And at the same time, we all formulate research questions for our research. We all collect data, we all analyze data, and we all interpret the result. That shows that what I'm going to discuss as well will be much relevant for anyone, in as much the person is going to do the research, either PhD, either at the PhD level or at the master's level. At the same time, what I'm going to discuss is merely how to write methodology for dissertation and thesis. Of course, I'm not going to discuss how to write that for journal articles and some other things. Research like that. So let me quickly share my experience when I was writing my research methodology. Of course, doing research methodology is a bit difficult, but what make it much simple for me, it was the situation in the Kulia of Economics, because in Kulia of Economics uh, we have separate research for qualitative research. We have separate course for qualitative research. We have another one for quantitative research, and at the same time we have another one for research methodology. So because of that, it was a bit simple for me to do this. But of course, everything has to do with my own effort as well to read as much literature as possible. And at the same time, the same thing we are trying to replicate in my institute, which is International Institute for Halal Research and Trading. So um, let me just come back to because we don't have much time. So let me come back to the discussion. Uh, if you want to write your research methodology, or something we say a good enough research methodology, then you should endeavor to discuss these issues. The first point you should try to discuss about your research philosophy. Which research philosophy have you adopted? You should also formulate your research design. You should discuss your research population. You talk about your sample size and sampling method. You talk about building research instruments, data collection and management. We should also talk about research ethics. Here you can see that I give it another color because it's something that has to be present from beginning of the research to the end of the research. But of course, when you write your research methodology, it is also very important for you to also discuss the ethics of research, because as a researcher, there are certain things you should do and there are certain things you should not do. And at the same time, there are certain things you have to protect as far as your respondents are concerned. And there are some other things that you can share about your respondents. So you have to uh, take it serious to discuss about the research ethics as well. Then the last one is the procedures for data analysis. So let's begin with the Sandra's research onion. If you want to write a very good research methodology, Sandra's let us understand that what is good enough methodology should incorporate the research onion. And the research onion, according to him, are layered because if you peel onion, you find another one inside. You peel that one, you find another one inside. And such is the research methodology as well. And this can also be applicable to other part of research as well, meaning that when you are discussing your research, you have to discuss, you have to start from something very important or something very general, then you try to narrow down to something specific. And that is why I think it is much more important for PhD students in particular and master students in some cases to take it serious to discuss everything based on research on him as proposed by Sanders. So according to Sanders, when you want to start your research methodology, you should discuss your philosophy. And here, if you see your research philosophy, you may decide to be positivist. If you are going to do quantitative research, or you try to become a pragmatist, if you are going to do method research and interpretism. If you are going to do qualitative research. So these are the three most important here that in most of the research we do in this side or in this part of the world, these are the three aspects that we do every time subscribe to. So you let us understand from beginning of your research methodology, immediately after the introduction to the chapter, you try to let us know what philosophy have you subscribed to in the course of doing your research. Then at the same time, you have to discuss the approach to theory development. So in
Dr.
this
Harun,
case, yes, can
Dr.
you hear me?
Harun,
Yes.
your mic is quite like touching maybe your so maybe try to put it in the place that not really touching your face, so it's not disturbing.
Okay. What about now?
It's quite far.
Oh, far. Yeah. Okay. Then I have to take it after. Okay. What about now?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yes. Okay.
Okay. So the approach to theory development, you have to also discuss them. For example, if you are going to use, if you are going to do a quantitative research, you should know that you are going to use approach known as deduction. This is the situation whereby after the review of the literature, you try also to come up with a research hypothesis. Then you collect your data and test the hypothesis you have proposed. Then at the same time, if you are going to do qualitative research, you should know that you are going to use approach known as induction. So in this case, you are going to collect your data from your respondent, and based on the views of your respondents, you can develop the theory. Then the abduction is a situation where you mix both qualitative research and the qualitative research together. So in this case, you move back and forth between the methodology, between the two methodology. Then the next one is choice of research methodology. So if you want to do your research, you will like it is important for you to discuss whether you are going to use mono method quantitative, whereby you just use one approach in quantitative aspect, or you are going to use mono method qualitative, or you are going to use multi-method quantitative, or multi-method qualitative, or mixed method simple and mixed method complex. So you have to discuss which of these methodological choices that you have taken or chosen for your research. Then at the same time, you have to discuss the research strategies. So what strategies are you going to use to collect your data? Are you going to use experiment? Are you going to use survey questionnaire? Is it going to be archival research or case study or whatever that you are going to use, or interview, which is also known as narrative inquiry. So you have to discuss why you are choosing any of this, because research is about why and justification about everything you are trying to choose for your research. Then at the same time, you need to discuss the time horizon. So is your data going to be collected at one time? If you are going to collect your data at one time, then we will say you are going to use cross-sectional time horizon. But if, for example, you are going to collect data at at a particular time, then collect another one in the other time. So at the other time, then in that case, we can say you are going to uh, 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 go through longitudinal time horizon. So you have to discuss which of these that you are going to use for your study. Then the techniques and the procedures also. You need to discuss data collection approach or the procedures for data collection, and at the same time, data analysis approach. So these are the things that you must discuss according to Sandra's et al. 2015, which if any student have access to my PhD research, you find out that all these things together with some other things are the things I discussed in my methodology. So what is research philosophy in this case? The term research philosophy there should be S at the end of refers, in this case. So refers to the systems of beliefs and assumptions about the development of knowledge. That is about the way in which you view the world. So research philosophy is actually the assumptions or belief that you have or how you perceive the world around you. If you want to do the research, basically your supervisor will ask you, why do you want to do that? So how do you see the world around you when you want to do the research? And about the way in which you view the world will actually be referred to as research philosophy. Some people also call it philosophical worldview. Uh, these assumptions shape all aspects of your research, whether you like it or not. All whatever the way you perceive, I mean, the system of your belief and assumptions will shape all aspects of your research. But at the same time, when you want to do your research, there are five main philosophies that you can choose to subscribe to in the course of your research. So the first one is positivism. Another one is critical realism, interpretivism, postmodernism, and pragmatism. So this one depends on which one you are going to subscribe to. If you are going to subscribe to quantitative research, then you are going to, if you are going to do quantitative research, then the first one will be the one you have to subscribe to. If you are going to do qualitative research, then the third one will be the one you have to subscribe to. Then if you are going to mixed method, then the last one will be the one you have to subscribe. And these are the three aspects of research philosophies that are very, very common, especially in this part of the world or in most of the developing countries. Then I just try to discuss this three research approach. The first one is just the situation here is that when you carry out quantitative research, the main argument of your research is that you can generalize your findings because you are going to collect data from large sample size compared to qualitative research where you just interview or go out for observation or ethnography or any sort to interpret how the individual experiences of the portrait in the recent time. So the last one, which is pragmatism, is a situation where you try to actually you mix both together, and in this case, you can say that okay, your research is shaped by the objective that you would like to find out. So as a researcher, you are expected to discuss the research philosophy you have subscribed to in the course of conducting your research in detail. So all research philosophies make four major types of assumptions. The ontological assumption, epistemological assumption, axiological assumption, and methodology. So the first one, which is ontology is the nature of the reality around you. How do you perceive the reality around you? The nature of the reality. So this assumption is very, very important because it's for you to, you know, to narrate how you feel the recent as the recent reality around you in your research. Then at the same time, the epistemology is the situation of the knowledge. I mean, if you claim to know something, then how do you know what you know? So this one is actually also very important because it's advanced aspect of ontology, and it's something that will shape the conclusion you make by your study and the contribution you make to the research field. Then the axiology, which is the values of researchers, because as a researchers, we all have values. Somehow, sometimes we try to influence the research that we do in a certain way, and somehow, sometimes we don't do that. But of course, when we carry out quantitative research, we all know that quantitative research is known as value free, because in this case, you allow the data to say whatever the outcome that the research, I mean, that you find out. So you don't actually, you cannot change the result when you carry out the quantitative research. You cannot say, okay, this one's supposed to be a positive relationship, but in your result, you got a negative relationship, then you change it to positive relationship. No, you cannot do that. Then but if you carry out qualitative research, because it allows you to interpret the participant views the way you understand. So in that case, you may decide to you know to involve a little bit because qualitative research is known as value embedded. So in this case, you may try to torture it a bit. To actually understand what the participant eventually mean. Then at the same time, you need to let us know the methodology. The methodology here can be quantitative or qualitative or mixed method. So therefore, you should discuss your research philosophy in relation to the above assumptions and the three main approaches in theory development, which is deduction, induction, and abduction. So after the research philosophy, the next thing for you to discuss in your research methodology is to formulate your research design. So what is research design? Research design is the way the research questions and objectives are operationalized into the research project. So the research design process involves a series of decisions that need to combine into a coherent research project. So research design will be informed by your research philosophy. So if you claim to be positivist, then we all agree that your research will be quantitative. But if you claim to be interpretivist, then your research will be qualitative. Then if you claim to be a pragmatist, then you are going to use mixed method research approach. Then in this case, you have to discuss your choice to use either qualitative or either quantitative or qualitative, mixed method, or both of them. So you have to discuss this in relation to the method you are going to use, either mono method, multi-method, or mixed method. So you have to discuss all these under your research design. If you are using qualitative research, your research design is straightforward. If you are using quantitative research design, your research design is straightforward. But if you are mixing method, doing mixed method research, then the research design is a bit complicated. So you have to discuss how you are going to conduct both research, both method. For example, if you say you are combining qualitative and quantitative research approach, you have to let us know how you are going to collect your data. Are you going to collect your data using concurrent sample design in situation whereby you collect your data at the same time and conduct analysis at the same time and find out find out about the result at the same time and make the conclusion at the same time? Or are you going to use a sequential sample design whereby you you carry out one research first, you carry out research using one method first, then uh, you you focus on the other one. So you need to discuss this because can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Okay,
can hear
okay.
you clearly. Don't worry. Go
So
continue.
okay,
But we
okay,
have a very limited time. I think you might make it a bit general.
okay. So this especially of course I know you are going to share the slide with the participants, so I don't need to specify
Yeah,
it.
I already sent the slides into the chat, so
Okay,
people have the slides already.
okay.
Thank you
So
so much for the
when
slides.
you formulate your research design, discuss the time horizon of your research as well, whether it is going to be cross-sectional or longitudinal. Then discuss that as well as the research strategy. Then in this case, the research strategy you can choose from could be a survey questionnaire, could be a narrative inquiry, which is an interview, and some others as I've mentioned here. So in this case, you have to discuss how you will minimize the errors related to the choosing strategy. So in this case, for example, if you say you are going to use a survey questionnaire, then you have to discuss the errors that are related to coverage error, sampling error, measurement error, and non-response error. So you have to discuss all these things in detail in your research design. Then also discuss the criteria to assess the quality of your research inquiry. In this case, we are talking about reliability and validity. So the validity here, you have to discuss the internal validity, external validity, and so many other validities that you have to discuss in your research. Then there are three main factors that could influence your sampling design. The first one could be objective of your research. So the objective will actually influence the research design you should adopt for your study. The available resources, the time, the money, whatever resources will also dictate what kind of research design you should adopt for your study. Then the last one, method of data collection. So if you don't have much time, why not you just use convenience method to collect your data? So this will also influence your research design. So another thing you have to discuss in your research methodology is the research population. So where will you get your data from? You have to discuss this research population. So in this case, what is coming up here? Can you see something
Yes, I can see only like
like lines?
writings. Yeah, exactly.
Then why?
It's okay because maybe you are moving the mouse, so
Oh, oh,
maybe you can just close it back and then share it again the screen.
Doctor, you can
okay.
go to annotation and then you can cancel. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't
So
have to do that again. So
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. You
So
can
as
continue
a
now.
researcher, you should deem it fit to discuss the population that will be investigated or upon which the sample size will be drawn. So in your research methodology, it's very, very important for you to discuss the research population. That, I mean, from where you are going to draw your sample size or the population you are going to investigate. Then Then after this, you need to discuss the sampling method. So which method are you going to use to arrive at your sample size? So in this case, you may wish to adopt or use probability. If the population is known, then at the same time, if you use for probability sampling method, you have to discuss how you have arrived at the sample size you have, either through systematic sampling method or whatever type of probability sampling method. Then at the same time, you have to discuss if you cannot if you cannot use probability, then you may probably use purposive sampling design or convenience sampling method. So if you are using purposive, then you should know that maybe you just want to collect your data simply because you think that those people have the information you are looking for your research. Then the convenience sampling method is a situation where you just collect your data from anyone you think is relevant for your study. Then at the same time, the mixed method, if you are using mixed method research design, then you can also mix the method of arriving at sample size. So discuss your choice in detail, discuss your sample size, the criteria, and how you have arrived at it. And also discuss the factors that have influenced your sample size decision. So in this case, you have to discuss the variation in the population, the accuracy required, the time available, and the cost of sampling. So these are the factors that will influence the sample size you use. So you should try to discuss that in detail. So discuss your research instrument or strategy. Discuss how your research instruments were planned for data collection. So in this case, if you are using a software questionnaire, you have to discuss in detail and discuss why. If you are using the rest, also you have to discuss. So for example, you have to discuss, if you are using software questionnaire, you have to answer how was your questionnaire structured, where did you source the item used to measure your variables, and was it validated before you use it for data collection, all sort of things like that. You have to discuss it in detail. Then data collection and data management is another section you have to discuss your research methodology. So in this case, you have to discuss how your data were collected in detail, e.g. software questionnaire or interviews. So you have to discuss which of them you have used to collect your data. You have to discuss how did you invite your participants to participate in your research. You have to also discuss were the instruments self-administered by you yourself or by someone else. So you have to discuss this. So were data collected through face-to-face or how? Did you collect it through face-to-face or you use internet or you use email or what sort of mode of data collection you have adopted? Then the last one here is for you to also discuss from whom your data were collected and why you have collected data from them. So to manage your data, you have to discuss how you have managed the data collected with respect to arrangement of data, incomplete data, data cleaning, and data imputation. So you have to discuss this. You may also wish to discuss how you have pre-tested your research instruments and conducted pilot study. So if after you have developed your questionnaire, then you send it to experts to check it for you before you use it, you have to discuss. And if you don't do that also you have to discuss, or you have to justify to the examiner why you don't do that. Then if you have conducted the pilot study, you have to also let us know how many respondents were there in your pilot study. Then the procedures for data analysis, which is almost close to the end. Uh, Here you have to discuss how you have analyzed the data collected. You have to also discuss this in relation to method of data analysis. So if, for example, you are using ANOVA, you are using multiple regression, you have to discuss which of these method of data analysis you have used for your research, and you have to discuss it by comparing the one you have selected with other competing methods. Because, for example, if you say you are using multiple regression, why don't you use structural equation modeling? So you have to discuss why you have used that. Then at the same time, you have to discuss the assumptions and restrictions related with the method you have used with your research. So it is very important for you to do that and to also discuss the software used and what did you use the software for. So discuss you have used, discuss how you have analyzed the data collected. The popular method in social science could be ANOVA, regression, exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, structural equation modeling. So you have to discuss. And if you are doing qualitative research, whether you have used thematic analysis or branded theory or whatever method you have used, you have to discuss and you have to justify why it is better than the competing method as well. Then some notable software you can use also include SPSS, AMOS, PLS, eView, Stata, NV4, Atlas AI. So you have to discuss which of these you have used for your research and why you have used them. So in conclusion, when you are planning to write your research methodology, there are certain things you have to do. You have to think about, and this is where the reflexivity comes from. So you have to question yourself with regard to the how you determine or how you have determined if the method selected is feasible. So the method you have selected, can you use it for your research? You have to question yourself and find out whether you can use it for your research. Then number two, you have to identify the rationale for selecting such method. So why do you use quantitative? Why not quantitative? So you have to identify the rationale. Then identify data collection strategy. So if you are using qualitative, for example, okay, what strategy are you going to use to collect your data? So you have to question yourself initially. Then number four, you have to develop the qualitative mixed method question. So if you are going to use either of these, you need to develop the instrument you are going to use to collect your data. Then the next one is to collect qualitative or quantitative or both data you are going to use for your study. Then the number six is to analyze your data separately or concurrently. If you collect data using sequential, then you should know that you are going to analyze it separately if you are using mixed method. Then you may also do that concurrently when you use concurrent mixed method design for your if you are using mixed method. Then the last one is for you to write the report as one or two phase or multiple phase. So you need to also do that after you have collected and analyzed your data. And the last one is thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for these beautiful slides. In my opinion, actually, yes, research methodology is the heart of the research. And for sure, if the heart of the research is not strong enough and good enough, for sure the research will got a lot of problems. And to share with the students one of my really very important experience regarding the research. Trust me, all the questions in the viva and the examiners will always focus a lot into the research methodology. If your research methodology is really solid, you will be on the safe side and you will be passed very easily. But if you have a problem with the research methodology, you're gonna struggle a lot, and all the examiners will really know how to discuss with you related to the research methodology, because the experience about the research methodology is among all the people and all the examiners. But maybe related to your research, they might not really very clear into your research, or maybe they are like not really familiar with with your topic so well. But trust me, they know very well how to discuss with you related to the research methodologies. That's why you need to know very well how to choose the is it quantitative or qualitative, or what kind of analysis you need to do. You need to be sure very well with your supervisor, because you really need the supervisor help. And in my opinion, you really need to ask other people also, or other doctors or prof, that they might help you to how to construct the research methodology clearly. So thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much for the very beautiful slides. I hope people already understand how research methodology works. So thank you again, and would love to hear Dr. Mahib again, since we interrupt him at the first. So hopefully he is around now. Brother Mohib, are you around, Doctor? Dr. Mohib?
Yeah, I am around. Yes.
Yes, Doctor. Yes. Very happy to hear you again. Very happy to hear your voice again. Sorry for interrupting you at the first, since people want to know step by step. And
Brother
thank you.
Jia,
Yes, I can hear you.
You are asking me, it's Mohibullah.
No, I asked for Doctor, for the speaker, not for you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Habibullah, the mic with you now. And sorry for interrupting you at the first. Sorry for cutting your very beautiful slides. So yeah, actually, yes, it's better if you conclude it in your way, because this is kind of a conclusion. So people need to know how they go into the research proposal the first, and then yeah, they need to know how to construct their research methodology. So that's perfect if they know very well now how to conclude their research. So the mic with you, you can start now.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank CPS and special thank to PGSS, Ziad,
Welcome, brother.
and also Brother Kamal for being with us for a long time, reminding us how to, in order to conduct this very important program. I think the first presenter and second presenter, they already made my presentation easier. And also with the comment from Brother Ziad, I think you make my presentation easier. So I'm just going to share my, it's like sharing moments. It's not about academic material. So how to write conclusion, at the same time, how to prepare for your viva. We are going to discuss a few issues, conclusion or discussion. and also whether your conclusion answer all your research objective. You can also summarize and reflect on your research. Do you have any contribution? I think both speakers already mentioned that you need to have a contribution. If you have, mention it in your conclusion. Is there any comment, recommendation for maybe academicians, for industry players, for policy makers, and so on and so forth? And also, is there any recommendation for future research? Because normally if students come to us asking about the topic, we sometimes recommend them, we ask them to go and search for a thesis written in that specific specialization or area. So from your recommendation, someone can pick another topic for his or her own research. For Viva, we are going to talk about certain issue, being that Alhamdulillah, I have privilege to be in Viva for many times. Also, I have privilege to be examiners for many theses, PhD and master's thesis. So I'm going to share with you what we expect, examiner, what your examiner expect from your presentation. Okay, this is a summary of our checklist for what you need to focus on in your conclusion. The first thing is you need to give us a general overview about your topic or about your thesis in your conclusion. And then you summarize these into points. And then you need to make sure that you answer your research objective. And then state your contribution. As I said, do you have any contribution? If yes, then state. If you don't have, then there is no any research. So if you don't have any contribution, maybe to the theory, to the knowledge, there is no any research. So your research should contribute something. Sometimes your supervisor will tell you that, oh, your contribution is not up to the PhD level. So you need to have more contribution. And I think that would be the first stage where you choose your topic. And I think Hibuddin already mentioned in his presentation. Recommendation for industry players. Do you have any recommendation? And do you have any recommendation for teachers? Many students ask whether we should have a chapter for conclusion or not. I think it depends on your specialization and your area of study. For instance, those who are in IRK-HS, they don't need any chapter for conclusion. But for us in IBF, economy, we ask for a chapter for conclusion. But how lengthy it should be? Your conclusion shouldn't be very lengthy in the sense that it's your conclusion need another conclusion. So it should be very moderate, but you need to have this general discussion. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clear, yes.
Chapter should be shorter and more general than the discussion. Discussion be very specific. Very specific. You are treating very specific topic. And conclusion should not introduce any new data. I mean that you already have a chapter for your findings. So in your findings, you can discuss, you have interpretation, the argument, support, or So in discussion, that's where you discuss. but conclusion that we want you to give us what is your stand, what's your conclusion. And bear with me, many examiners, I also part of, sometimes we read your introduction together with your background, and immediately we go to your problem statement, whether there is any specific gap that you want to treat, and we go to your conclusion. Do you really answer all the questions or not? So if you answer all the questions, means that you have very good focus, and you manage to complete. If you miss some of your objectives, examiner will ask you, this objective should be answered by whom? Who should answer this objective for you? So if you don't answer, you need to delete. You don't need to put it in your objective anymore, because that is not more objective. Okay, I won't take much time, but in writing your conclusion is say what you said. Introduction is what do you want to say, and the content is say it, and conclusion is say what you said. So in introduction, it's like appetizer for your readers. They want to know what you want to say. From that, they want to read, or they won't read. So your conclusion is actually you repeat, but don't repeat the same word. Don't do copy and paste. Use different words. Use different words. And this technique helped many students, is that if you finish each chapter, you have your own conclusion, summary and conclusion. So you can take this conclusion from each chapter and put it in one file, and from there you can actually get your last conclusion. I take this example as a conclusion, but of course it's vary from one discipline to another. One of the conclusions, which is very good, is that this research aimed to identify effective fundraising strategies for environmental and non-profit organizations based on quantitative and qualitative analysis. You see, it starts with general statement. Coming from general, then come down to identify what other methodology used based on qualitative and quantitative analysis of donation intention in response to campaign material. It can be concluded. So this is your conclusion. This is your stand. So you need to make us to understand your stand and make your stand very clear. So as I said, conclusion is say what you said. But don't repeat what you said. Don't repeat the word that you use. Also, one of the mistakes that people fall when they write their proposal or the thesis is that they keep repeating the word conclusion or can be concluded. It can be concluded. This is very spread, or I think mistake many fall into. Conclusion is your stand. So make it clear that this is your stand. But using conclusion anywhere can be somehow confusing. It can confuse your readers, at the same time confuse your examiners. And also, I read many theses. Don't be so apologetic. Don't sound apologetic by using phrase like this paper try to show. Don't tell us that you try. Let us know that you try. Let examiners, let your readers see that, oh, you have contributed to the field, to the knowledge, to the policy maker, and so on and so forth. But don't use the word I try to. It's somehow apologetic. Okay, that's for conclusion. I don't want to take much time, but it depend on your field. I know that those who are in IRK, their conclusion is somehow very different compared to other field. So, but in your conclusion, whether you are in IRK or in other field, make sure that you answer all the objectives. Some they love it to be in points, like point number 1, point number 2, number 3, number 4. However, it's very essential to note that in your conclusion, you don't need to say that I conclude that the definition of so thing. No, that's especially from IRK. Please, I read many theses, many dissertations from IRK. In the conclusion, they mention about the definition. The first thing that your examiner will ask is definition part of your objective or not? So if it's not your objective, why did you mention it in conclusion? So make sure that your main objective answer and summarize in your conclusion. Okay, coming to Viva. I don't want to take much time. I think we still have time. Okay. Viva is examiner's day. We normally write thesis for 2 persons. For your supervisor, because without your supervisor approval, you cannot submit your thesis and there is no any Viva. But in Viva, your supervisor will remain silent. Your examiner cannot say anything. It's been examined as well. So examiner will keep silent as student keep silent. But before you go for Viva, there is some essential thing that we need to do, especially your supervisor. Number 1 is that your supervisor need to appoint or suggest someone who is in the same line and the same philosophy. I witnessed some students that they got like a major correction or sometime reviver, just because that examiners are not coming from the same philosophy with your supervisor. So you don't, you didn't write for them. You wrote for your supervisor only, but your supervisor did not manage to assign someone who is suitable to be examiner for your research. So don't expect your examiner to praise you, because it's not the day that you expect praising. No. So Viva is not about praising. Viva is about asking you question. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? But preparing for your Viva, as my experience in Viva unit, I think we are examiners are looking for a certain thing in your presentation. Number 1 is about introduction. It's where you have introduction, or you can call it background, as the first presenter mentioned. And then your problem statement. Then research objective. But in research objective, you need to put your methodology aside. So put it together so that you can say that objective number 1, I use so methodology to answer this objective. Objective number 2, I use so methodology to answer. So put all your objective and how did you manage to achieve your objective. And the 4th one is the findings. The findings, you just really brief, because you'll be giving only 20 minutes to summarize your idea. And the 5th one is your conclusion. say what you said. The last one, which is very, very important, very, very important, is that you have publication from your thesis. I think that's why CPS and university ask us to have publication before we submit our thesis for Viva. This publication will have impact in examiner's decision, because their report, their preliminary report, is just to say that this is their stand when they read your thesis. But the final result is when you finish your presentation. So I was a Kulia's representative, and one student, I don't want to mention from which country, but student was giving major correction based on examiner's report. But because he managed to convince examiners, and he already published some articles from his thesis, and from major correction, it became minor correction. And at the same time, I witnessed, I was there as well as a Kulia representative. A student was giving minor correction based on their report. But in Viva, it was giving major correction. So result might change from major to minor, from minor to major. It depends on especially your research objective, the gap, and also research methodology. Before you come for your Viva, some they are familiar with using PowerPoint. Some are not familiar. I just want to tell you that there is no any ruling or regulation that you must have PowerPoint, but it's good for you so that you can arrange your thoughts, arrange your idea, your point, what you want to say, what you shouldn't say, and how to say it. And it is very good to have this PowerPoint presentation to allow you to finish on time. And number two is you need to be very punctual. If Viva is 2:30, make sure that you come 2:25 or 2:20 at least, for you to set up your presentation and so on and so forth. Also be ready. Don't be panic, and be firm. You need to be firm that this is my work. I wrote it. I was I live with this research for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So it is something that you know better than another person. This is your research, even though sometimes your supervisor know less than you. So the same thing with examiners, but they got before you, means that they know the methodology, they know the areas very well. But at the same time, you need to be very humble. Very humble means that you know that this is your work. But as human beings, we have shortcomings. So you might overlook certain issue and is very significant. And your examiner can also give you feedback to enhance and strengthen your work. So as I said, PhD Viva Voice is not about praising you. It's not about, oh, you, mashallah, your work is very good, you mantap. No. This is time for examiner to attack you. I know different examiner with different approach. Some examiner want to actually irritate you in the sense that you are very imbalanced. When you are angry, you are frustrated, someone say, oh, this is rubbish. How come? This is not master degree, talk less of PhD degree. So that they want to know whether you actually are a PhD candidate or not. So by frustrating you, by irritating you, something like that, they want to know whether you are balanced in your thought, emotionally balanced, physically balanced or not. So it is good to be balanced, and any comment, just receive it, try to respond. After you finish, actually they will be giving only 20 minutes. So from 20 minutes, you need to summarize everything. Summarize your idea. As I said, this the one that I show you is what examiner expect you to say. What examiner expecting is introduction, the background, research methodology, objective, and your objective, you need to mention that this is a gap, research gap, and then that's research gap you are attempting to, and then methodology that you use, and so on and so forth. So write down their observation if it's about observation. But if they ask you questions, sometimes we ask questions, we just want to know whether you really understand or not, or to make examiner understand your thought. So in that sense, if they ask you question, you need to differentiate between question and observation. If it is question, answer their question. From the question, they might ask you another question. And in this regard, I want to tell you, you need to be very sincere. If you don't know, just say, I'm sorry, I will jot it down. I can come back to you. So it doesn't mean that you should answer all questions. And if it is not really related to your research objective, you can just mention that, oh, based on my opinion, I feel, I guess, this is okay. It's okay in Viva. It's not like do or die. If you don't answer, means that they will fail you. No. And then appreciate their feedback. We normally in UIA we have 3 examiners. One internal and 2 external. External means outside the university. Can be international or local. So why do we have 3 examiners? Actually, it was 2 examiners. Before, we only have 2 examiners, internal and external. But later, because of differences in examining the thesis and to the conclusion, the final result, sometimes your external examiner says, oh, this resubmission. But internal examiner say it's minor correction. How the chairman can actually reach to a conclusion, especially if one of them didn't come. So that's why we have three examiners. So make sure that if they ask you a question and you don't know, jot it down and respond if you know. Appreciate their feedback, because your feedback is kind of contribution to your thesis and your findings. As I said, the result is not depend on your presentation. So if your presentation is okay and they are convinced enough, they can change it can change from a major correction to minor correction. And even sometimes the minor correction might be no correction, but no correction for IIUM, it doesn't mean that you don't need to do anything, but you can finish it within 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. So that's no correction. But I think here, maybe 1% or 2% can get no correction. Also is another very good platform. It's very good platform to have networking with your examiners. networking with your examiners through your Viva presentation. And normally, if you are a very active student, you already publish before you go for Viva. Some of them, maybe they might be come across your work. So it will give you another very significant side to have like a minor correction. So it's another platform to have networking. And of course, after you finish, you'll be having congratulations. But you need to bear with your examiners that before you can get congratulations and very smiley face, there are a lot of comments from examiners. They won't praise you, they will attack you, but not because they want to attack, but they want to strengthen and contribute to your findings and let you see the very broad or widen your scope to actually know that there are other things that you need to do. Of course, after your Viva, you can still have some publication with your examiners. That's why I say it's another platform to have networking with them. And Viva is not do or die. You need to expect the worst scenario. Expecting worst scenario, saying that, okay, maybe major correction. If you get major correction, that's all, no problem. You can finish before 1 year. But if you get minor correction, you'll be very happy and very thankful. I'm not saying that you should be humiliating yourself, no. But you'll be very humble that this is my work. I'm just normal individual. I try my possible best to add to the literature and add to the knowledge and give something very relevant and valuable to the society. But someone might see it in different way. However, I think this is where your supervisor need to do a lot of job in giving you very suitable examiners and who understand the work very well. Because at the end, the examiner stand is the final stand. Examiner stand is the final stand. No one can change because they are exercising their scholarship. So, you just bear with them. I think last 2 weeks I attended one Viva, of course online with so the examiner say, I'm not convinced enough. Students try to convince examiners, but I think as Brother Dr. Harun mentioned about the methodology, is more about methodology. So in your Viva also you need to stress on your methodology, and that methodology is suitable to answer your objectives, to achieve your objective. This is some picture that we took during Viva. So I think to allow question and answer. Thank you, Brother Ziad, for giving us this opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dr. Habib, you look handsome there, Dr. Habib.
Apa itu?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Habib. Yeah, for sure, Viva is the one of the most important things at the end of our journey. So as you mentioned, in the Viva, they would not be smiling at us and tell us, come, Yalla, it's okay, you can graduate easily. No, for sure, if you are a PhD student, they would really try to stress you as much as they can. They want to see how sabar you can and how you know to defend yourself since you are a PhD student. So you will be moving from a PhD student to the lecturer. So they will put you at the lectural place. Then like there is a students will ask you very difficult questions. How are you going to answer that questions? Actually in the Viva, it's not about just that your research information. They want to see your ability with talk, your ability how to speak, how to share the information, and how to defend yourself, to defend your idea. You know, you need to have like some maybe physical and also some smart, intelligent way how to answer your question. It might be a difficult questions sometimes, but trust me, it's just think a bit and like you know, move it in your brain a bit, then you can easily just answer it. For just to add on Brother Habibullah, for the master is only one examiner, one internal, one external.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, for PhD is one internal and two external.
Yes, yes.
And it's better actually when you have many examiners. It will be much easier and better for you because there is many opinions, so you will not stick in one opinion only. So don't be worried, don't be afraid from the many people. No, you should be happy they are a lot. And for students, don't worry if you got minor or major corrections. As long as you just get minor or major corrections, means you already graduated. You just need to do editing a bit to your research related to the comments and done. Alhamdulillah. So either you do it in 1 week or 3 weeks, or the difference between minor and major, I guess minor is 1 month and major is 3 months. So sometimes they give you major correction 3 months, but don't worry, it might be finished with 1 week. It's just the time for yourself. It's not like stated in your research certificate that you already got major or whatever. No, don't worry about that. It's nothing related to your marks or anything. It's just about to finish your master, to finish your research correctly. So I think that's all from the speakers. Thank you so much, speakers. You really give a very beautiful topics and really important topics for everyone. So let's open a Q&A now, and let's see people. I hear that some people would love to ask some questions. So I have one question from Brother Ali. Brother Ali, would you love to ask your question by yourself, or you want me to announce the question? Brother Ali from Kaid?
No problem, I can ask.
Okay, please, yeah. The mic is with you. You can ask.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. So, mostly I would like to thank all our presenters.
You're welcome. Please, specific who is the speaker. If you have a specific question to one speaker, and
the first speaker only.
Okay. So, Brother Zahidul. Okay.
Can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Okay, actually, I read many theses in UI, especially the PhD thesis. So,
Brother Ali, hold on a moment. Let's see if Dr. Zahidul is with us to hear the question. Okay. Dr. Zahidul, are you around?
Yeah, I am here.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Brother Ali, proceed.
Yeah, okay, all right. So actually, I don't know why many people, they used to have both hypothesis and research question in their thesis. So any basis for that? So that is my question.
Okay, brother. Actually, when we are going to Kulia and we are expressed that we want to do our PhD or masters, they are giving us a format. According to the format, they mention all the criteria. Okay, so we are fulfilling all the criteria. For example, I mentioned in my lecture that the research question and research objective, same thing. Research objective, just a statement. Research question, the same statement. We are producing it and in interrogative sentence. You know, if you go University Malaya, I saw many theses. There is no research question. Okay, if you go some university, they don't have research hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis, I just mentioned that it is an assumption about your thesis. When you are going to start start writing your research proposal, you are doing some short research. For example, pilot study, 3 months, 4 months. Okay, about your data, about your interviewee, all the things. When you are doing minor pilot research, then you got some knowledge about your thesis, about your topic. So based on that experience, is just the researchers read some statement, hypothesis. For actually, the proposal is a skeleton of your whole thesis. when someone read your proposal, they will assume or they will see your thesis, how it will be, how many chapters it will be, what you will discuss, what you want to find. Okay, this is the skeleton of a thesis.
Okay, I hope.
Got it, brother?
Thank you.
Yes, brother Ali. Can you wait for a while, please? Just mute for your mic and just put your name in the chat. If anyone would love to ask any question, please put your name on your.
Assalamu alaikum.
Dr. Haruna.
Okay, can
Okay.
I add to the what Dr. Said has said about the question?
Yes, sure, Dr. Haruna.
Okay, thank you, brother Ali, for asking this question. Actually, just like Dr. Said has said, but I think what he omitted was the research hypothesis is actually stated after you have reviewed literature. So the first thing you have to do is to review literature. Then based on the outcomes of the previous literatures, you can make your guess. Maybe, for example, one variable will have positive relationship with another variable, or maybe it's going to have negative relationship, or maybe you don't want to state any relationship. Just like, okay, this variable will have significant effect on another variable. So the first thing for you to do before you determine your hypothesis is for you to review literature. And the same thing also goes to the research question. But what is different is that the research questions usually you have to situate it in your chapter 1 because it's part of the things that the readers and examiners would like to see when they read your research. So, but of course, at the same time, you can bring forward your hypothesis, but that will be after you have covered very extensive aspect of literature review before you can say you want to bring it forward to the chapter 1. So to situate the research question and research objective, of course, you can situate them in chapter 1 there, or you can situate your hypothesis in chapter 2. That, of course, almost all research must have research questions because you have objective you want to address. Then at the same time, you need to have research questions. So though sometimes you don't actually state your research questions, you can just state your objective. But in a PhD or master research, if you have specific research objective, then you need to have research questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Haruna, for the beautiful ad also, and thank you for Brother Dr. Zahidul for his answer for Brother Ali. So I hope Brother Ali already got the answer of this question. So I'm gonna go furthermore to other question from Brother Kamrul. Brother Kamrul, he has a question to Brother Habibullah, Dr. Habibullah. So Brother Kamrul, you might ask Dr. Habibullah.
Assalamu alaikum, you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Yes, thank you for good introduction and methodology and also the conclusion. So my question to Dr. Habibullah regarding the Viva voice, I mean, when you will represent our whole thesis within 20 minutes, right? So you, as you mentioned that research objective and methodology, we should collaborate together and we should represent. So can you explain more, because I am a little bit confused about that. Can you explain a little bit more? Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Kamar, for this very wonderful question. Because of time, I couldn't manage to explain everything. As I said, there is checklist that all your examiner they want to see in your presentation. Yes, it's very short, only 20 minutes, but they want you to answer all their expectation. Okay, one of their expectation is what is your objective? Okay, you mentioned that this is your objective, 4 objectives. Okay, but we want to know how do you achieve your objective? Getting? How do you achieve your objective? Then you need to mention your research methodology. Okay, I know those who from IRK, we don't need to stress on research methodology because the research methodology is very simple compared to other field like I call also research methodology is very important if you do many case study. For, of course, engineering, economy, IBF. So how do you achieve? Okay, for instance, you want to measure perception of maybe perception of, let us say, Sharia advisor. Okay, how to measure perception? We have methodology how to measure as perception. So you link this with this methodology. Okay, don't say, oh, I conduct survey for all, or see, there are certain things that you just use like library research. You get it? Library research. So library research is different from, let us say, interview, or which kind of interview, semi-structured interview or other kind of interview. So that's your presentation to make them understand that you really use very relevant methodology to answer your research question. You need to put them aside. You get it? That this is column for objective, and this column is for how do you achieve your research objective. I think, hope I answer your question.
I think it's clear.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, Brother Kamrul, is it clear for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I want to add something.
Yes, Brother Zaidul.
Not about the
go ahead.
not about the Viva boys. About the overall. Actually, we have some difference, because about the legal research from Kulia of law, we have some different structure. And if you see economics, engineering, there is some different structure. For example, if we see engineering or economics, their chapterization, like first chapter proposal, second chapter methodology, third chapter literature, then finding, then conclusion, like that. But if you see Kulia of law, legal research, is not like that. Our literature review, our methodology, everything in chapter 1. And other chapter, normally we arrange according to research objective, research question. So I advise all the students, if you are from Kulia of Engineering, when you will see some research, please see the research from Kulia of Engineering. If you are from Kulia of Engineering, if you read as an example, if you want to see the proposal of ICOL, then you will confuse. If you ICOLian, if you want to see an example, if you want to read any proposal or thesis, if you want to go library, and if you want to see any thesis, if you see economics thesis, then you will confuse. You will confuse. So if you are from IRK, see the thesis from IRK department or faculty of IRK, their research. So you will get some same idea. And I call normally hypothesis, we will use one or two hypotheses. If you see economics, hypothesis 1, hypothesis 2, hypothesis 3, hypothesis 4, other Kulia, they have same different structure. So my suggestion is, when you will see thesis from your Kulia, don't see thesis from other Kulia. It will make you confused.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for this share. Yes, for sure. You need to know what is the resources related to your kulia, how it's structured, and it's better if it's also in your how to say, in your field of study near to you, because sometimes kulia has got many fields of studies, different way. Some of them is experimental, some of them is technical. So yeah, they must try to find out the closest, and they need to narrow down very well into their research to know very well how they're gonna conduct their research, what is the best methodology, what is the best analysis. Then they will be on the right track, inshallah. There is other question from Brother Ibrahim Abdul Karim. Would you like to ask by yourself, Brother Ibrahim Abdul Karim? Can you hear me, Brother Ibrahim? Okay, let me ask his question since he cannot hear me. The question of Brother Ibrahim Abdul Karim, he said, Dr. Haruna, how to determine publication and population and simple in qualitative research, since qualitative research, doesn't have any determiner.
If I can understand your question, I will the question very well.
Okay. I cannot hear you, brother.
Yeah.
Research population.
Doctor, I cannot hear you.
Okay, if I can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yes, what you was talking just now?
Okay. I said if I can understand what the brother is trying to ask, it's like you want to know how to determine the
Population and samples.
Yeah, and sample
Yes.
size.
Yeah.
Is it brother Abdul Karim, Ibrahim Abdul Karim?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, you can ask him directly your question clearly if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So my question is that I'm just want to know how to determine population and sample size in qualitative research. See, the qualitative research is not have any template to determine the sample size or population. So how to know how to determine sample size from the population? So that is what I want to know. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead,
So to determine the population, of course, research population is actually where you want to draw your sample size. Let's say you want to find out the performance of UIA students. So your population or your research population will be UIA students. So the sample size for the qualitative research, usually it is very difficult for you to determine at the beginning, but of course, some of the researchers, they have tried to come up with, with enough way to know that. And the best way for you to understand is the point of saturation. So the saturation usually occurred if you have interviewed, for example, people of the same knowledge. So usually when you interview up to 6 individuals, you should reach the point of saturation. But of course, 6 sometimes is is considered too small. Of course, you can use it for publications. If you want to publish articles, you can do that. But for PhD, it's a bit small. So somehow they may encourage you to go as far as 20 or 15. But what I know is that once you reach up to 10, you should reach you should reach the point of saturation. So either way, either you go to 20 or you leave it at 6. But if you can manage to get 10, then you should reach the point of saturation. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So means that there's not any rules for population and sample size in the qualitative research.
In qualitative research, there's no procedures like quantitative research. But of course, you have to make sure you reach the point of saturation.
Okay,
before you stop.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your question, brother, and thank you so much, doctor, for the answer. I hope it's clear for the brother. I have one suggestion from associate prof. She was with us. Her name is Khairunisha Ibrahim. I hope I pronounce her name correctly.
That's my supervisor.
Yeah, she suggests she suggests something. She said, like, if possible, we can have Dr. Haruna to share his idea on how to be actively publishing while doing PhD. So would you like to share with us, Dr. Haruna?
Okay, thank you very much, my supervisor and everyone. Of course, it's something very difficult, very simple but difficult. As far as I understand is that to do much publications while you are doing your PhD research, you have to leave a lot of things before you can do that. And you have to keep yourself in a very lonely life before you can do that. Because I could remember during my PhD, I managed to have couples of publications, but why it was somehow easier for me was because I was able to reduce my outing, going from here to there. I try to reduce it. I try to focus on something very important. But of course, what is the important thing for the researchers to understand is that when you are building yourself at the beginning, you need to build yourself across the methodology. So if you are very, very much fast in methodological aspect, then it will be much more easier for you to conduct most of the researches. Then at the same time, if you know how to analyze data using qualitative, using quantitative, using mixed method, then it will be much more easier for you to also have much publication. So the best thing, I mean, the first thing for you to, for the researchers to try to equip himself or herself is to know so much about the research methodology and also the method of analysis. So after this, you can work so well on your English and grammar. So you need to know how to write professionally, because sometimes if you send your paper for publications, even to get it proofread, you spend maybe 3 or 4 months to do that. So if you can develop yourself, and how do you develop yourself? You have to read a lot of publications to find out how are the academic writings are structured. And at the same time, you need to read a lot of news to know a lot of grammatical, aspects and jargons that are very much important for the research. So, to summarize, just work on 3 things. The first one is methodology. The second one is data analysis, and the third one is grammatical aspect. And there's something very minor is for you to reduce the level of friends you have. Of course, you can have as many friends as possible, but those that comes to you every time should not be so many, maybe 1 or 2, so that you can arrange yourself. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brother Ali. Brother Dr. Haruna, thank you so much. Your mic is quite far again.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so done already your answer, and then
Yeah,
your
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I think
I
that's
hope
okay.
people will learn.
I hope you all.
Yes, I hope people will learn how to try to publish while they are doing their PhD. For sure, also there is like literature review papers, there is analysis papers, there is research methodology papers, all related from from the research at the end. So they just can get some small part of their research and try to find out how to make it as a permanent paper and then try to publish their paper. There is one question from one sister. She said,
Brother Ziad,
yes, yes, brother.
I
You want to add
said,
something?
yeah,
Okay, yes, yes.
it helped in your viva, especially if you publish from your thesis. Try to publish from your thesis. There is, I think 2 months ago, I was in Viva. This student, based on previous, what do you call it, report from examiner, they give him major correction, okay? But this person already published like 2 to 3 articles in Scopus. And he got best paper award. So examiner don't have anything rather to say that, oh, pass with minor correction, because many examiners all over the world already cited his work. So I think, as Dr. Haruna mentioned, is good. Yeah, it's good to publish, even though, yeah, with if you have other areas that you want to focus, but it's better to publish from your thesis, with your exam supervisor.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Agreed. It's the best is to publish from the thesis itself. Then also he will has the a bit like if you go to the conference, if inshallah this MCO will end soon. So if he go to the conference, he know how to talk, he know how to present the paper. So the Viva will be a bit easier for him because he will be like in small Viva. It's not really Viva. I mean like in front of people. So he will know how to speak. Would you like to add anything, Brother Zahidul, on that? Before I move to the next question?
No, no. Actually, I want to add something else. Not about this. I have some suggestion for the student who are doing their PhD or masters by research. Sometimes we found that our students, they meet their supervisor and then 2 months, 3 months, they are missing. They don't communicate with their supervisor. So my advice is, please keep in touch with your supervisor. You are in Malaysia or outside Malaysia. Okay. And when you are writing something, writing your proposal, please show it with your senior who is doing PhD or masters in your kuliah. If you are from IRK or IBF, you can see Dr. Habibullah. He is very helpful. And if you are from economics, you can see Dr. Haruna. If you are from ICOL, you can see us. Okay, I know all of them. They are PGSS alumni. They are very helpful people. In this case, the researcher, you have to very smart, because sometimes, you know, the professors, they are very busy. They have 5 to 10 PhD students, so they have to take class, they have to do research. Maybe sometimes you don't get the appointment, so you upset. Don't be upset, man. So you have to be patient, because it is your PhD. It will make you not expert, it will make you more mature when you will finish your PhD. I want to give one examples. One of our PhD student, he always complained he didn't get appointment with his supervisor, very busy, very busy, very busy. Then he found that every Sunday his supervisor came to the IIM, what's it called, a stadium for jogging, you know, every morning. So he went to a stadium, and every Sunday he met his supervisor, running with his supervisor, jogging 1 hour and discussing his thesis, you know. Then like this he finished his thesis very fast. So as a supervisor, you have to find how you will catch your supervisor. Okay, one more example. One of our friend, he has completed PhD from ICOL. His supervisor was Professor Zaleha Kamaruddin when she was the rector. You know, she was very busy. For the appointment, you have to email to her secretary. Then secretary pass it to the rector. Then the appointment will come. It takes 2 months, and she was very busy. When he what he did, you know, he just found that, okay, where the rector park his car. He morning he went there and wait there when she will come. When she come, she just start talking, and up to his office, up to her office. And evening, he already knows that he will go back to home at 5 or 6. Before that, he wait there. He see every week, twice, 3 times. He saw his supervisor, you know. So you people have to be smart about how you will get appointment from your supervisor.
Yes,
Don't blame always your supervisor, please.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. You need to push your supervisor.
Yeah,
Let's make it in very sharp way. You really need to push your supervisor to push your research to go furthermore.
Yes.
So thank you, brother. Thank you,
Don't ask them to push us. Eh?
a bit, in a humble and nice way. You go, you bring some food, you bring some you
That's
know, some
president.
drink. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you, doctors. Thank you so much for you know, this. Let me just finalize this section with the latest question right now. There is one sister. She asked, okay, I have a problem with my research. I supposed to interview the teachers and also doing survey and interview the students. So to test something related to education, related to developing the leadership, something like that. So since there is an MCO, what do you suggest me as PhD mixed mood students? Is it enough for me to do survey with the students and do just only interview with two lecturers? Anyone would love to suggest something to her, since it's not really like sharp suggestion, because it's not really clear to know the whole thesis and the whole story. But anyone who would like to add something on this?
Can I say something?
Yes, Dr. Haruna, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, sister. Actually, research is all about your objective. The objective you want to address, you cannot change it no matter the situation. Even though we are currently in conditional MCO, but If your objective is still the same, then you cannot change anything in your methodology.
Can you close up the mic if you don't mind?
Yeah, the thing you need to do is for you to reduce the objectives you want to address and discuss with your supervisor. If your supervisor agree with you to reduce your objective from three participants, or for example, from three different groups to just one group, then that would be good for you. But of course, you need advice from your supervisor, and of course, you need to work on your research objective. So if the objective is still the same, then you have to wait. But of course, if your supervisor allow you to change your objective to fit in with the current situation, then that will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Hanwa. Yes, agree with you. She need to discuss with her supervisor first and know about the objective. If she can pass her objectives through the interview only or survey only, so then it should be fine, right? If I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so she's supposed just to know what is their research objective very well and try to answer her research questions clearly. Then inshallah she will be on the safe side. I hope she answer I hope we answer your question, since it's quite general actually, because this is quite technical. You need to really know about the research methodology very well, and you need to know if it's really how to say, if it's really already answered your objective and settled your objectives or not. Okay, let me thanks all the doctors, Dr. Habibullah, Dr. Zahidul Islam, and also Dr. Haruna. You really give us a very beautiful and nice speech. Seriously, it's really important speech for every and each IIUM and also and non-IIUM students, everyone who is doing research. This is really relevant information. I hope it's helped all the students who is among each other right now. So personally, I really thank you so much, doctors. It's really nice speech and also very beautiful presentation. Thank you so much for sharing the presentations with us. Second of all, Sister Damia wasn't able to continue with us, so she has something to go. So on behalf of AIR, also she is really thank you so much, and also on behalf of all PGSS students and PGSS members, I would love to thank you and also thank all the participants who join us and give us their comments and share. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you got benefits with this section, and hopefully, inshallah, as PGSS members, we will do more sections, inshallah. You can propose some sections to us if you don't mind. And there is also survey. So if anyone who missed to ask any question, please ask it and comment on the survey. So we're gonna pass the question to the doctor, and then they will answer your question directly, inshallah ta'ala. So I hope you can fill up the survey to help us. Thank you so much, guys. Let's happy iftar, inshallah, soon, and let's end this section with Tasbih al-Kafara and Surah al-Asr. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Assalamu alaikum wa
Mr.
rahmatullahi wa
President,
barakatuh.
and
You're
all
welcome.
the school committee.
You're welcome. You're
Jazakumullahu
welcome.
khairan, barakallahu fikum.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for everyone.